I want to share something with you. I've possibly been feeling in the past couple of months, and I would say probably throughout my whole experiment lifetime as a creator. And for starters, no doubt that being a creator has taught me a lot of things. It has taught me a lot to be myself, and it's continuing to teach me along the way. And throughout this time, there have been many obstacles, particularly here in the start, and I'm only just getting started, that are just so tricky to handle. And it's overall leading up to this idea that I'm feeling lost as a creator. And I know I'm not alone in this. It is very common, and I would probably say very special, because some people actually see this moment in their journeys as a creator as something that should be used to their advantage, rather than just seeing it too negatively. They should be seeing it as a feature of just getting started, rather than just using this as I don't know how would you call it, but like more of just something to accept, rather like saying it is what it is and you just have to accept it and there's nothing you can do about it. I've been hearing like from other people that we should be taking this in as something very good. It should be very good to get lost. And in fact, not just as a creator, but feeling lost in life in general. When you feel lost in life, there are special reasons for it. And I've got 3 of these reasons for this. The main reason I would say we started out as creators is we want to leverage the power of information. We want to leverage our consumption. Now, what I mainly talk about on this channel is the beauty of pattern recognition. How we find the connections in the information that we take in and what meaning comes out from it. And in a creator sense, the main reason that we've decided to follow this creator path is that we have found a way to leverage the use of information to create something that would make an impact on people. This is why one of the golden rules I've been seeing with a lot of creators is that no one needs to be an expert. There is no such thing as original content. There's only learned content, but we put our own twist to it. We consume to create. And how we do this, and part of the creative process, is pattern recognition. And from the information that we find, we're finding how it connects to our lives personally. We're finding if we've learned something in the past that has brought back to this connection, we're sort of figuring out how this actually fits with me and how I can actually express this to the world. There is an abundance of information around, and it feels like a blessing. I would say it's a blessing to be a creator. I actually love being a creator. It's something that looks pretty simple and straightforward. You're finding a problem that is prevalent throughout a specific audience or niche. You're finding information to solve this problem and you're expressing it to your target audience. And this information can be systematized in a way to help other people. It can help build trust with that audience. And if you go any further, they can be willing to pay you for it. They're able to pay you with their time, with their attention, and internally what we aim for with their money. And this looks very simple. It's a very simple way of providing value and getting that exchange with your audience. But throughout our journeys of finding the information that we consume in order to create, this is where we can get very lost in this. Hence the feeling of being lost as a creator. When it comes to finding information for your niche, or particularly when you work out as a creator, most of the creators I've been seeing on Twitter, on YouTube, they have differing opinions about how to succeed and hence providing the value that your target audience is looking for. Everyone shares different systems, different advice, different interpretations, different perspectives on what they've learned along their journeys. And I'm pretty sure everyone is following like some of the golden rules that the creator economy seems to follow. Like, no one is an expert. Be consistent and never give up. Engage with your audiences. These, I would say, non-negotiable rules and mantras that the creator economy seems to follow. And it's fantastic to hear that creators are following these and hence developing this healthy mindset towards their creative project. But there are some instances that they can conflict with each other. With these differing opinions, there is a chance that these opinions are so polarizing that overall you don't know which one to choose. It's sort of like being a servant of two masters. One to this kind of information and one to this other polar opposite. So one of which, for instance, is what I see like in terms, so like going back to one of the rules about consistency, many people talk like keep churning more content, keep writing more blog posts, keep putting more YouTube videos, like week in, week out, like or on any basis you are comfortable with. But there's like another side that says like the complete opposite. Stop churning YouTube videos. Stop writing blog posts. Stop writing more content on Twitter. Just by looking at these polar opposites word by word, this is where the problem occurs. And obviously we shouldn't take this face value, because the people that are offering this are going to give their reasons why. These people have taken different pathways to lead them towards their creative success. And the striking thing is, sometimes you can also see some of these polarizing views from the same person. There's nothing inherently wrong with that. I think if you've learned something along the way and there was actually a better way than what you've previously learned that you wish you would have learned in the past, then it is right that you should express this, and maybe they might find an intersection between these two seemingly differing opinions. But I think the trouble is still, because they're so differing, if we don't treat them what the creator who shared these intended for us to interpret, then that's going to create confusion. That's going to create this conflict and this servant of two masters mindset. Which one to follow, which one to obey in order for us to lead to success. And I'd say for this one, that if you are experiencing conflict, look at how these two play out and see what matches your values, and whether there is an intersection and combination between these two or multiple others that you can sort of implement in order to match your values. And in fact, I've expressed this to one creator on Twitter. His name is Kieran Drew, and he actually sent me this article from one of his email newsletters, and he actually said, don't listen to my advice, don't follow the crowds, listen to your values. This sounds very ironic. He doesn't want his readers to take in whatever he expresses to them. He wants them to actually follow their own values or what the information they take in. One of the most important ideas in life is to understand success is subjective. you get to decide what that means. And I know this sounds a bit easier said than done, but success is ultimately how you perceive it to be. It shouldn't be based on how much money you have in your bank account, or the grades that you have on your CV, or the job title that you have managed to acquire, or the house you've bought, or whatever you've come across. It is so much more multi-dimensional, and once you've come across this in all the dimensions in your life, like your health and fitness, your intellect, your emotions, your character, spiritual, love, parenting, quality of life, your life vision, financial, career, all those. By the way, they're from a great program called Lifebook. Highly recommend you check that out. Link in the description below. But once you've found out these values and how they play their role in helping the other categories, then you'll start to see that this is actually success, and this is how you see it. You write down your values for each of these categories, and if you work towards them, and this is where you will lead to success. And success is ongoing. It's never a means to an end. It is always something to always strive towards, and it is always just to enjoy the journey and never be disheartened when something goes wrong, because you can use that to your advantage. You can use that to design a life that you want, particularly if you've made the decision to become a creator. And this leads on to this next obstacle. Your values is all about clarity, but with this information that is around us, then it can become a little bit unclear of how we're actually playing out in this big creator economy. And this particularly applies when we can't find clarity by ignorance, but when we can't find clarity by misunderstanding. Misunderstanding is a bit of a special one, and I would say, and for me myself, I am no stranger to falling under misunderstanding. All of us have made the fundamental error that we cannot avoid. What another human being is trying to express with their heart, with the full emotions, but the person listening and interpreting seems to take it in a way that isn't intended by the person expressing, and we stick to it. And misunderstanding is quite a strong emotion. It can cause a lot of emotions. It can be frustrating. It can really trigger us internally, and makes us feel like that we're not recognized. And in a creator's view, the latter is quite relevant, particularly when we're trying to express something to other people. And how do they see it? How many of you have made so much content? You've consistently put it out, and you put your effort in. You've got an amazing repertoire. You've learnt a lot. You continue to learn. You continuously put it out, improve 1%. But for some reason, for whatever reason, you don't seem to get the amount of views that you sort of seem to deserve. I know, it is frustrating. It can lead to a lot of misunderstandings and about your audience. And one misunderstanding I found with building an audience, and I always constantly put this out on Twitter, and maybe my alter ego will also continue to put this out to the world. But what I always constantly have this notion, if I do this and if I'm trying to provide value and my audience isn't looking at this, I'm just thinking that my audience disrespects me. They disrespect me because they're not engaging with my content. Even when I ask them a question, when I ask them, what do you think of this video? What videos would you like to see? And still no answer from it. Like I'm just tweeting into a void. I'm talking to myself. And I know I'm wrong. I know they don't disrespect me. In fact, there was one passage from what I love from the book, This is Marketing by Seth Godin. He sort of teaches, there was like one passage that says you need the humility and curiosity that people don't have the time to put their attention out. They need the humility that when you're trying to market your work, people aren't going to look at it instantly. They're trying to figure out your message, I would say. They too are pattern seekers. They're trying to figure out the gist of your message, the ones that you put out. I think this is something to not forget, that your audience are pattern seekers, and pattern recognition can take time. It can take time for the audience to get the gist of what you're trying to express. What's the message that you're aiming for this audience that you're targeting, and whether it actually fits them or not. And if it fits them, they will resonate with this, but they may or may not express it fully in the form of a comment or a like. And if it doesn't resonate with this, then maybe they do not. Maybe they might resonate with it just a little bit, but it may not fit them mostly. And that is perfectly normal. And when it comes to improving, like the storytelling, the editing, the thumbnails, the titles, the hooks, everything when it comes to content creation, the audience obviously would like some of this because they are catalysts to the solutions that they are searching for as they consciously or unconsciously search for content. And right now, even though I'm actually expressing this and teaching this to you right now in this very moment, I too am taking this to heart. I've actually never said this before to anyone before I even filmed this video. It's something that I should be taking in. So when it does come to my alter ego expressing that your audience disrespects you or they don't care about you, no matter what your content is, like they disrespect you, and it is them that's to blame, even though you are engaging, you are providing value, you're doing all these things, and yet the audience doesn't look at you. If I do get this sort of thing, I will know that it will take time, and we just need the patience for it. And it's very cliched, it's easier said than done, but I think patience is probably one of the most underrated values, because your ego can kick in. Like I just described my alter ego. Your egos can kick in and they can create these like misunderstood and false perceptions of what you're feeling, and it is great to express them. It is great to put them out. If you are having some internal perceptions that you know to be wrong, but yet you still stick to them, express them out. Like if someone puts a question that sort of frustrates you, that you are feeling a bit frustrated about, and you're not having a very good experience with, put these misunderstood perceptions out there. Let them correct your perceptions, and so that you'll feel the value of enjoying the journey. If you still keep them inside and you're not expressing them in public or in private, like for instance on journaling, then you won't be able to find your clarity. And this is exactly what we lack. And our egos can suddenly get in the way. Because after all, ego is the enemy. And if you've never read this book, it will actually change your life. Read this book, no questions asked. Just read this one. It will completely shift how you see things. So finding clarity as a creator is an ongoing journey. There is no time limit. There is no end point. But I think there is an end point that we internally set upon. And that brings us to this third obstacle. This is a bit of an interesting one because I would say that the common demographic of typical content creators they're in their 20s, and the goal of this creative side hustle is to obtain financial freedom. I read this from Goldman Sachs, and they predict that in 2027 the creator economy will be roughly about $480 billion. Now, wow. I mean, going back to what I said, this is a blessing to see that this relatively new field of simply making content online, solving people's problems, and by extracting your knowledge and put it into digital products for people to pay you with their trust, with their time, and with their money is a dream come true. It's a very simple business economy that is on the rise as we speak, particularly with video content. But I think we set ourselves some goals that have, I would say, some time limits. And whilst these time limits can be a very helpful way of being consistent and putting your videos or your content out there, there are some time limits that can, I think, put too much pressure on us, and particularly when it comes to our age. And we sort of use our age as our time limit, particularly with financial freedom. So for instance, some people's common goals of making like $10,000 a month, and they want to use this money to travel the world, to give back to their family, to buy a nice house, to live in a luxurious city, and to work from anywhere in the world. Having this time, financial and location freedom, all from this business model that you've worked towards. And I have to confess, I too have these goals. I too want to travel the world. I too want to give back to my family for all they've done for me. And this was actually the reason why I entered this creator economy, but as well as sharing the value of what this channel is. And this can give us a lot of excitement. This gives us an exciting utopia that could actually come true through this emerging economy. But if you put your age on the line, particularly if you want to travel the world before you turn 30, and to know that you've not wasted your 20s, then it could be a bit of an issue, and you'll start to have a lot of regrets for the past and completely ignore what you've actually done in your life. Remember, success is subjective. It is your other life that you've achieved in your 20s, not just your finance. And I too have this pressurizing internal countdown of my own. Currently now I'm 27. I'm 3 years time I'm going to be turning 30, which is just insane. But one of the things I sort of say is, why wasn't I not taught this before? And yes, we can express strong opinions, I would say, about the education system and why we were not taught about building a business in the first place. But if you're constantly reminiscing about the past and something that you haven't achieved by a certain age, then this is a bit of a problem that probably shouldn't have been ingrained in us. We're feeling that the clock is ticking and time is running out in order to reach your financial freedom. And If you really are feeling that time is running out and you have not reached what you wanted to reach by a certain age, still enjoy the journey as if you were 18 years old. We've now been seeing a lot of content with the title with life advice for teenagers, and I actually thought that this advice was actually directed at teenagers, for the 13 to 16 year olds who would watch this content and actually build a business from there. But I would interpret these kinds of content as the intention of taking in their advice with a juvenile persona, with an exciting, bold dream of having this financial freedom to do the things that you actually want to do, like traveling the world and giving back to your family. And I would say having this mindset, no matter what age you are, can be a pretty healthy way, and you will never be tied down by time. You're never down like you're aging or your health is deteriorating. So if you are one of these people that time is running out, adopt a lot of mental models. See it from a different perspective. Get these new mindset of how you see things from this perspective, from this lively, juvenile perspective, or any other healthier mental models of how you see the situation, regardless of what age you are in, or whether you have been tied down by time. So after learning these mental models in your toolkit, when you go back to what's normal, your normal is going to be better. This is something that I learned from this book, Limitless by Jim Quick. And I'd like to finish this off by reading The Hero's Journey, because as his creators, we have a mission, purpose to fulfill. So if you do feel lost, I hope that this passage fits to you well. The hero starts out in the ordinary world, the world they've always known. The hero then hears the call to adventure. They have a choice, to ignore and stay in the ordinary world where nothing will change, or heed the call and enter the new world of the unknown. If they heed the call, they meet their guide or mentor, who trains and prepares them to overcome obstacles and realize new levels of fulfillment. The hero is introduced to new powers and skills, and encouraged to utilize their current abilities like never before. They transcend perceived limitations, learn a new way of being, and eventually face their trials. When they return back to the ordinary world, they take with them the ultimate boon, the treasure, emotions, strength, clarity, and wisdom they discovered from their adventure. They then share their lessons and gifts with others. The hero's journey is the perfect structure to lend power and purpose to your personal story. That really made me quite vulnerable in this. Wow. To anyone out there who's feeling lost, be patient, be humble, and continue to find your patterns, because your audience are finding the patterns of your content. And be happy that they're continuing to do so. No matter how fast, no matter how slow, they are doing it right now as we speak. Just continue making some things, continue posting videos, continue making blog posts, continue living to your values, find clarity, and don't get caught up with time. And for a personal point of view, thanks so much for all the support. Thanks so much to everyone who subscribed to this channel. And I want to say also thank you for supporting my fellow creative friends and my future creative friends. And I want to say that I'm rooting for you, I'm cheering you on, and I will try my absolute best to support you along the way, wherever I can. Alright guys, take care of yourself. You could do this.